Hello all, welcome to Cleaning with a Conscience. I'm putting this together so that my kids can learn how to clean with integrity. Not just because mom and dad told them to, but because they actually care about what's being cleaned. So we have the bathroom to start off with, which is everybody's least favorite thing to clean. And we have our supplies over here. So I have cloth rags, paper towels, glass cleaner, all-purpose cleaner, natural cleaner if necessary, bleach, a toothbrush, and a scrubbing brush. So this is the state of affairs right now. It's not the worst, definitely not the best. Take a look. Yep. Okay, good. Got an idea of how bad it is, and so we'll get started first on the sink. As you can see, there are a lot of things on the sink. And the very first thing is that you have to take all of them off, because you can't clean the sink without seeing the sink. So I'm going to put everything down. Okay, so I want you to see this is the cleaned off sink area, and take the towel out to put everything somewhere else, and let's look at how grimy it is. Let's appreciate the griminess. So I'm going to zoom in on this dirt. Look over here on this little ledge. Let's see. Let's do a dust test. Pretty gross. Yeah, agree. Pretty gross. All right. Some toothpaste stains. Let's zoom in over here around the edges of these faucets. There's some debris, probably dead skin cells, bacteria, fun gunk. Like, look at that right there. That edge, that's some really nasty gunky stuff. Yep, that's what we come here and use this sink every day, and it's pretty nasty. And then let's get some zoom in underneath. So if you have an undermount, I feel sorry for you, because this is my life too, and there is a lot of mildewy, moldy stuff on the under edge. Can you get like that? Yeah. So we need to pay attention to all those areas, because I could just give you a video and tell you, oh, just, spray some stuff and wipe it off. Duh. But that's not really all there is to it. You have to be detailed and pay attention to those little tiny nooks and crannies that have the bacteria and the dead skin cells and the whatnot that need to be cleaned up. All right, so let's get to it. So the very first thing you gotta do is what I said is the duh part. Spray it all down, okay? Nice healthy coat of an all-purpose cleaner or bleach all around these areas. And don't forget the cabinetry, because that is also pretty gross. And don't forget the sides of the cabinet, okay? Well, now that we have bleach, we definitely don't want to get it on these articles of clothing. So I like to use rags. I like to use cloth rags instead of paper towels for this part of the job. But you can use paper towels if you like. So if you really want to disinfect, leave that bleach cleaner on there for 10 minutes at least. If not, then you can clean it up quicker than that. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing the very basic cleaning and wiping down of everything. Now we're doing the detailing work. So get your toothbrush or a brush like this. Sometimes you will need this for the very small spaces and the very small nooks and crannies. So same thing. We're gonna go get some more of the all-purpose cleaner and put it on these very detailed areas. You can also just use bleach planes for these areas. And see how I'm getting right underneath where that undermount is. Another thing that nobody really pays attention to is the drain, the outflow drain, which always looks disgusting. So we're gonna spray that down too. Okay, so now I'm gonna go around and scrub these nooks and crannies all around this faucet. And as you can see, there are quite a few of them. Don't forget the ones in the back. Don't forget the different levels that are on your faucet. This one has quite a few different spots. Basically trying to get it all, get in the actual faucet itself where the water comes out. And the handles end up being really disgusting because this is us turning the faucet on and off and it gathering our dead skin cells. Then same thing over here and this outflow hole. That's really disgusting, but that's life. But yeah, you can see like how much grime is coming out of there. Something that most people don't clean. Gonna rinse this off just a little bit because it's kind of grimy. And now, same thing, going underneath the edges of this undermount. Around this drain, we need some extra scrubbing too. If you can take this out, it would be nice, but you can kind of get a little bit under and see how much stuff is coming out of there. It's always pretty gross. Maybe I should put a viewer discretion advised in this video because God only knows what's going to come out of here. All right, so now that we've done that, already got these ledges pretty clean, so there's nothing that needs to be too detailed around there. So we're gonna wipe everything down in double time, or triple time, or quadruple time. Usually it's quadruple. Okay, so you just watched that super time lapse, and a couple of things that I would have done a little differently if I had thought about it. There was a lot of dust up on those lights. Didn't think about that. So the very first thing I should have done is tackle the mirror and the lights, gotten all that dust to fall down, and then wipe this counter. But since I didn't, I will have to wipe this counter again, just briefly to get the dust off. Also, there are lots of nooks and crannies and edges and ledges up there by the light fixture, so all of that needed dusting and cleaning and spraying as well. Other than that, I think we did a pretty solid job. What do you think? Toothbrush splatter is quite adherent, and even though I did it once, there were still spots. You gotta go back and sometimes really scrub that splatter off. It's inevitable, happens to the best of us, but you can see there are little spots everywhere. And if I keep seeing them after this cleaning is done, it'll drive me a little crazy. Is reevaluating the amount of junk you have, right? Do I really need all of this on the counter? Probably not. Also should do a reevaluation of the junk that is in the drawers. Another thing to think about when the drawer slides out, see this little ledge? That collects dust. So in doing deep cleanings, which I will not show all of, maybe we'll just show one drawer for the purposes of want to pay attention to all the little nooks and crannies that make up a drawer and try to get rid of that stuff. But before we go into the drawers, let's put everything back onto the countertop. And that will involve actually cleaning some items that were on the countertop. Toothbrush holders. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Shall we? Don't judge. But there it is. That's what's come out of my mouth. I know. A little frightening. And that's not even the worst I've ever seen. But this is going to have to be cleaned before it can go back up here. All right, ta-da! Here it is. I have, well, I thought I did, but there's still another spot. Oh no. Get that later. But here it is, the final product, all clean, shiny, probably not entirely spotless, but more or less so. And there are a couple things that I would do differently. Obviously, the cleaning of all these items put dirt in here and water everywhere. So I would probably do that first as the very first step of the sink cleaning process. Put all of the items down and clean whichever ones you need to in the sink, wipe each item down. And I did wipe everything down that you see here, at least took the dust off of it, including decorative items, even the leaves of this plant, which were pretty dusty and gross. The outside of this pot for the plant, the mirror, all parts of that mirror. I actually washed out all of these toothbrush containers. As you saw, there was some pretty grimy stuff in there. If you have a toothbrush charger, that's something else that you could clean if you leave it up here. I also cleaned out each toothbrush. If you have electric ones, you know how nasty they can be. And I got, my fingernails down there and tried to get every last bit of grime. A trick that I use for these toothbrushes to get the mildew that builds up in here is to do a tapping method, where I just tap this, and you're not going to see anything now, but what will come out are little flecks of black, which are the mildew that has collected in there. Subscribe. Thank you.